Hello everyone and welcome to lesson 0.1, which is all about the class syllabus for IB Global Politics 2. And so let's jump right in. So by the end of the lesson, you will be able to do the following things, or should be able to do the following things. But is it describe the basics of the course syllabus, such as teacher contact, office hours, etc., etc. You should be able to explain the daily routines of the course, as well as the various different policies that are established throughout the classroom. You should also be able to explain what self-paced learning is and the model that is used in the classroom, and then also be able to describe the unit breakdown for IB Global Politics 2. So with our class specifics here, just reintroducing myself again, my name is Richard Albrecht. I'm your course instructor, and here is the email address. All of you have access to it, so send me an email anytime you need to do so. But just follow the basic, simple instructions here about emails, especially about times and things like that, so you won't be frustrated if you don't get a email response in a time that you wish. But just remember that emails sent during the weekend will not be answered until the next business day, which would obviously be Monday, or the next school day if it's Tuesday, if it's a long weekend. And emails sent after 5 p.m. I won't respond to until probably the next school day as well. I do have office hours. They're Monday through Friday, 3:20 to 4 o'clock in the afternoon, and then Wednesday during team time. And you guys will get more information about what team time is in a couple of weeks. In terms of our unit breakdown, our breakdown is very much the same it is exactly the same as it was last year. Criterion D is 10%, and it is use and application of skills. And the reason why it is the smallest bunch is because Criterion D is largely dealing with the historical investigation, and only one of the subsets of that criterion is not about the historical investigation. So that's why it's only a smaller part of your grade. So hopefully that made sense. But anyway, criterion A, B, and C are all at equal value of 30% each. Nothing has changed in terms of the school's grading policy. We still use the standards-based grading model as we have for the last few years, with 1 through 8 as our grading scale, and this is what the percents translate to. And then the school's grading scale has not changed either. So if you want to know what this breaks down to for, if it's A minus, B plus, and that kind of thing, it's right there. So regarding daily routines in the classroom. So when you first walk into the classroom, you will come into the door and you sit your things down. And one of the first places that you need to go to is something called the Command Center. And the Command Center is pictured right here. It is located right by the front door of the classroom. And you'll see the bulletin board here. And on the bulletin board there will be a green folder there, and that green folder will be the location for your do now sheet. So you will complete the do now sheets that that kind of checks in for me for that day, lets me know how you're doing, and gives us an opportunity to at least communicate with each other at least once throughout the day. You will also find right here clamped to the dry erase board is your weekly Hansard for this particular course, for all of the courses that I teach. And that just basically tells you everything that we're going to do that week. So it tells you which lessons you should be completing that week, so you always know where pace is. So you can make sure that you're on pace, ahead of pace, or behind pace. And then the bulletin board is also going to be used for general announcements. So make sure you're looking up there for any type of general announcements and things like that. In terms of the class seating for the classroom, I just wanted to draw your attention to these setup models. Of course, what I just circled here is the standard arrangement in the classroom. Now, this picture is with the desks close together. Of course, we are now currently socially distanced because of the pandemic and situation. But perfect world, this is what it would look like. But this is just where you're going to be seated during the regular class day. This particular table is going to be the conference table or the meeting table. And so there's a reason why you don't, there's a sign there that says, please do not sit here. And the reason being is because once our class gets going, this is where I will actually be for most of the class period. I will be holding meetings, the small group meetings with all of you. Once a week, you will all be meeting with me in small groups. So I will always be able to keep abreast of what's going on with you in smaller groups so I can help you. So it's actually going to make my life easier in being able to be a more effective teacher, and then meet your needs and meet you where you are so I can help you. So that's one of the great things about our self-paced learning and having digital interactive videos here. Now, In terms of the actual syllabus itself, so if you want to follow along, the syllabus is uploaded into Google Classroom. So to go ahead and open that up if you wish to follow along, and you just find where name policy is, and that's the first thing that I'm going to talk about. So in terms of the name policy, the only thing that means is that I want you to correct me if I mispronounce your name. I want to be very respectful and honoring of you as a person, as an individual, and also be respectful of your heritage and your culture or your religion, whatever aspect that your name is based on. So please, if I mispronounce your name, and I don't care if it takes me until next February to get the correct pronunciation of your name, please keep after me because I want to be respectful. In terms of engagement, the only thing I ask is that please participate in class. So it's going to be a little bit more difficult for you to not participate in class because of the fact that we're self-paced and I'm using small groups. So we will be meeting once a week in small groups. So I will always be able to know that you are behind or significantly behind. And so it's going to be much easier for us, for you and I to communicate and let you, and for you to let me know, hey, Mr. Albert, I need some help here and I can actually do something to help. In terms of behavior policy, we are all 12th graders in this particular class, so I mean, I expect everybody to do right, and that's exactly what my behavior policy is: do right, and we will be all right. So, I mean, I will always respect you, and I hope that you will respect me in return. And together, you and I will be able to help each other, you know, to improve myself as an educator, but also help improve you as a student, and also work together to help make sure that we have a wonderful learning environment for all of us involved. This is going to be a little bit weird for some of you in terms of the late work and extension policy, and the reason being is because there's not a real late work policy in my classroom, and the reason being is because we are self-paced. And I think I have explained to all of you at this point that, you know, with self-paced, you know, if you finish lesson 5 and then you leave to go out of town for one reason or another, and you come, and we were supposed to be at lesson 8, when you come back, well, you just pick up at lesson 5. So you just, you know, and I will work with you to remediate or reduce work as needed to help make sure you get caught up. So there really is no late work policy. And in terms of extensions, those are, you know, one-on-one things. So as things come up in your particular life, you will just let me know about those, and then I will grant extensions where they need to be. You never have to worry about that being an answer of no. And then, of course, you do need to be aware, though, that units do have end dates. So even though we are a self-paced course, you still need to be aware that there are end dates. So we will need to get to a point where it's like you got to stop working on this unit, and we're just going to have to come up with a way to, and of course you're going to do things periodically throughout that unit where I can actually give you a grade even if you don't have an actual assessment, so you don't have to worry about I'm gonna fail. No, you're not. You're gonna get a grade for that unit. It's just we need you to now move on to this unit. So don't worry about that. You know, you will get everything that you need, and I promise you that. In terms of the restroom policy is pretty simple. All there is a If you look at the back door, back of the door of the classroom, there is a white dry erase board, and it just asks for your name, your location, your name, the date, the name and the time, and then the location that you're going to. So if you're going to the restroom, you just put RR. But the reason why you put the time there is so that I can be recognizing if you've been gone for longer than 10 minutes, because that clearly means that you're either something is wrong because you're in the bathroom for longer than 10 minutes, or something is an issue. So just make sure that you put the time there, and all you have to do is just raise your hand and say, you know, Albrecht, and point to the restroom, and I'm like, my answer would be yes. Just make sure you write on the whiteboard behind the door where you're going and the time, and your name. In terms of the food policy, if you look on the syllabus, my food policy is that I do allow food in my classroom. However, unfortunately, since we are in the pandemic situation, and I'll just write that down. The pandemic situation, since we're in the middle of that, unfortunately, our school's policy is I cannot allow you to eat in the classroom. And so just make sure that we're mindful of that. So my policy that's written in my syllabus is correct for me personally, but at this point, that policy is null and void until I receive the positive affirmation from Ms. Doe that I can do that. In terms of the phone policy, I do not collect cell phones. The only thing is that if your phone ever becomes a disruption, I will ask for you to put it away for whatever reason. But generally speaking, I don't think they are a just. I mean, for my class, you're going to have need a device, and sometimes you're going to need to look stuff up. So, just be mindful of what you're using it for. So, I mean, your phone is kind of almost essential in my class. So, just be mindful of that. In terms of the remote learning policy, that policy is just if we have to go back to hybrid for whatever reason or to virtual learning. This is just a reminder of what those policies would be like about how to conduct ourselves in class on Zoom. So just make sure that you take a look at that, to remind yourself if we ever have to go back into virtual learning. Now, on this particular side over here is just a brief reminders about certain things like the proper way to contact teachers in terms of email. Just make sure that you find, a professional way to go about contacting me, please. Don't, be friendly and that kind of thing. Be yourself, but also have that, that tone, because you are getting ready to send messages and emails out to professors and colleges and employers and whatnot. So just make sure that you're practicing those skills with me as well. And of course, send me any emails that you feel about, late work or granting of extensions, absolutely, as well as letters of recommendation. I'm perfectly open to that as well. Reminder about tutoring availability. Look at the syllabus. It is on there. I do have office hours every day, 3:20 to 4 p.m. and also available on teen time on Wednesdays. Pay attention to deadlines. These are your final reminders. Pay attention to deadlines and due dates because we do have to turn off a unit and then move on to the next one. And of course, reminding that we are a self-paced class that does have end dates though. And if you're interested in the model that I'm using, it is called the Modern Classrooms Project. So you can Google it and actually type in Modern Classrooms Project, and it has a whole web page there, and website, excuse me, and it tells you anything and everything about all the research that has been developed about modern classrooms and how much of a positive impact it has on student learning. And so that is why, especially in increasing self-regulation for learning, which is a key essential skill for students to be successful in college. And so that is one of the reasons why we do this. So if you want to check it out, take a look at it. And it tells you all about the self-paced model for the Modern Classrooms Project. Now, this is the unit breakdown, and this will be the last thing we do before we end this particular lesson video. So at the beginning, we have Unit 0, which is our introductory unit, and that's what we're working on right now. We're turning ourselves back to normal, getting to know each other, and then I'll introduce you to the class simulation. And then our first unit is going to be development. And in this development unit, we're going to talk about global development, globalization policies, and like inequality that has been developed throughout the world, especially, through the globalization policy, and then all aspects of different types of sustainability throughout the globe. So we will be working on that from about September through November. And then for the second half or second part of the semester, we're going to be doing HL extensions and case studies. This is going to be kind of like I don't want to use the word independent, but I'll say that, but please don't look at it like it's going to be independent study, because this is going to be a time period for those of you that are doing the course at HL for you to complete, your HL extensions that you'll need to complete. If you have got them, then it will be an opportunity for us to work on other case studies. So if you've already completed your HL extensions, awesome, pat yourself on the back. Then you're going to get more in-depth ability to work on case studies. So you can actually study things that you are more desiring about learning more about in terms of global politics. This will also be a unit where any of you that are possibly need to work more on engagement activity for whatever reason, I will work with you guys on that because I know there may be a handful of you that still have some things you have to work on with that. And I will work with you on that as well if we need to do that. In terms of second semester, we will pick up with peace and conflict, and that is where we will talk about actual peace and conflict and then the difference between violence and nonviolence. And then there will be a last unit there for case studies and wrap up. So we will do some case studies about peace and conflict for the last half of the semester before we break for our review unit and then move into IB exams and then followed by graduation. And there you have it. The stop sign has returned. So this is the end of our lesson 0.1, the syllabus of IB Global Politics. So since our lesson has concluded, can you describe the basics of the course and the breakdown of the grades and whatnot? Can you describe or explain the daily routines of the course? Can you explain all the different policies that are in the course? Also, do you know something about self-paced learning? Can you tell us about the model that is used in the classroom? And can you describe the unit breakdown of the class? If you can, pat yourself on the back. You did an amazing job. So at this point, make sure that you have got your notes together, that you've written this stuff down in blue. And if you have any questions, reach out to me. And at this point, you have completed 0.1. Complete any activity if there is one. And if lesson 0.2 is ready and available, move on to that one. Thank you so much and have a great day.